Okay, once again, we are live. I keep saying we are live, but we aren't really live, we're just being recorded.
Yeah, I know. But like, you feel better when you say your life.
And look, it's like my introduction now. Some people have commented that we needed an introduction, so I think I'm just going to keep this part in so that they know it's a new episode, even though I usually cut this bit out for the previous 4.
Uh-huh.
And also, for the people who decided, or not decided, for the people who said that a blank PowerPoint presentation is too, well, boring, yeah. I've added a Shutterstock image, which kind of summarizes whatever we're going to talk about. But now that I think about it, not really, but at least there's something to fill the space.
Mhm.
Right. So, where did we end off last week? Or last episode?
Last episode we ended off on gender roles, master morality, slave morality, and also and also discussing about whether a person is wiser when they're older, and also school and boundaries.
Okay, I asked for where we ended off, not what we talked about, but
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, we
Okay.
ended off at school and boundaries. Okay,
Yeah,
happy?
yes, happy now.
Mm.
Anyway, boundaries. What boundaries have we not talked about? I think I talked about school rules and regulations.
Uh-huh.
But let's go to one of my favorite topics, the education system. Before I say
What?
anything, do you have any thoughts about it? Not
I mean,
education itself, just no, specifically the system.
this is I don't know. I mean I definitely have a lot of complaints because I have experience and suffer through it. But then at the same time I also can't really think of any solutions to it, you know. So I also feel that I can criticize it, but then I can't produce any solution. So
Well,
yeah.
to be fair, we aren't gonna be able to come up with a solution if no one points out the problems in the first place.
I mean okay fine. Then if you want to point out problems, sure. Then maybe one thing for sure is that it's just how stressed we all are. I mean,
Stress.
I mean, we're all just, we all just have so much work at this stage, and it's only halfway through JC1, and it's supposedly going to get a lot worse as the year passes.
Oh yeah, I remember I'm not sure who said this, but IB is a that graph shape. Oh no, I'm going to get killed for not recognizing. It's a quadratic function. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, can I mean I'm not surprised people actually I remember my seat that time during OC the OC the leaders they were talking about how people just breaking down in year 6, and I'm honestly not surprised that happens because just look at I mean as of now, right, I can really say I'm definitely a few more times more stressed. I'm a few times more stressed than I was in Sec 4. And then and then I just imagine next year when it's gonna be a few times more, and then it's just quite scary.
Oh, I
And I feel
mean,
that do
have
we
you?
really have to suffer through this?
Yeah,
I
we
don't know.
kind of have to. For for me, I didn't have a choice. 6 years,
What
not
is
6 years ago, 5 years ago, I just stepped into the school. What is an IB? 4 years after that, I just sighed. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
but this is super meta. But you know how we're kind of using this platform as a way to criticize the system that created this platform.
Yes.
In the sense that we're doing this for CAS, but we're using this to criticize CAS.
Yeah.
One of my main issues with CAS is like it makes okay. You agree that there should be work-life balance, right?
Mm,
Or at least
yeah.
we all want work-life balance.
For
Exists in
sure.
this
Yeah. It
society.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's a separate problem. But the IB has created CAS
Uh-huh.
to balance the workload.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because they spread it out. Yeah. Because they spread it out into IAs and also
No,
yeah,
no, no, no.
basically they just spread it into IAs and EEs and
Yeah,
TOK,
no, no, no.
right?
But
That's why it's
but
spread out.
but that's the okay. Okay, IAs and wait, no. Itokia is part of the IB core, I think.
Uh-huh.
It's part of the IB circle. Just call it IB circle. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so basically, CAS exists to. It functions as a counterweight. But
Uh-huh.
let's be real. I think if anything, it just adds on to the weight that it's trying to counter.
You mean like the EETOK IA, right?
No,
You're saying that
I'm talking about CAS.
Oh, CAS. I mean, yeah, I feel CAS is a bit okay. Considering that we have certain hours we have to achieve, I do feel it's kind of how should I put it, forced because okay, for example, some people they okay, for example, me, I creativity I already have more than 50 hours, but then for something like service, I've only got 5 hours. But then if I'm more interested in creativity cases and and I've already attended quite a few, and then yeah, I've such as like external things such as this podcast, and also other creativity related cases, then yeah, I don't know why I have to be forced to do things related to activity and service just to meet that certain quota, you know. So yeah, I would say that is a burden to me because I just do not enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. I
Mm.
mean, like, it's okay. The way CAS was introduced to us was, I quote, not CCA. And CCA back in secondary school, there was the performing arts, which is creativity, and then there was all the sports, which is activity. And then uh,
Uniform.
uniform groups, I think they lean towards service, even though they have elements of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then we come IB, and IB goes, "Hey, can you do like everything?"
Mm-hmm.
But
It's okay. Yeah.
yeah, but one of the good points is that it's flexible, because
Uh,
imagine doing podcasting as a CC. I mean, it'll be really fun, but no, it won't work.
that's
It
true.
won't pass like under it won't pass in the system.
Yeah. Because after all, a podcast can't have that many people, right? And then in a CC, we need to have that many people.
Can a podcast have many people? I don't know, because like if it's anything more than X number of people, I think it's a discussion,
Oh,
something that resembles a talk show sort of. I'm not sure, but
so,
I don't think the details are that important.
mhm.
And speaking of CAS and CCAs, I think this only applies to um O levels, because I don't think IB has a requirement for this. But you know how one of the requirements to get your 2 bonus points is to
Mhm.
perform outstandingly in your CCA.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, do you remember the 4 aspects of it? The what do they write on the form? The
Um,
CCA records thing.
Basically for each they have, if I'm not wrong, is leaps, or is it? There's
Oh yeah,
leadership. Then
leaps.
I remember the service. I don't remember the rest. Leadership, service.
I don't
Yeah, I
remember
don't remember the
B.
rest.
I know A is achievement. B is
Oh
participation.
yeah.
Yeah. And okay, the thing I want to talk about is the leadership bit.
Mm,
Everybody wants the minus 2 points.
yeah.
But because of that leadership criteria, not everybody will get the minus 2 points.
And also right, I feel something. Yeah, I feel the worst part about that is that it's very easy for some CCAs to get 2 points for to get the max amount of points for the leadership, or at least higher points. For example, you go for uniform groups, right? Yeah, like for example, I think I had one of the lowest roles inside my uniform group, and then I managed to get a 4 or 5, I think.
Ah,
And then in the meantime, there's people from other CCAs in which in which they can barely get a 2 or 3 despite being a lot more involved in the CCA than I was.
wait,
So,
your comment actually took me by surprise. I thought you were gonna say because uniform groups generally have a larger cohort size. or larger batch size, it becomes harder to get leadership
No,
points.
actually, I mean, it is harder for you to get top leadership positions and leadership positions that actually have more power. But then, but then getting the leadership points is seriously is not that hard. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. How does leaps work? I also so basically it's because you get more opportunities to lead, is it? I think that's how it works.
Mm,
If you act as a leader for a certain event, I think that counts as leadership.
yeah, and sometimes it's also very subjective, honestly. Like, for example, the teacher can just decide whether he wants to give you a 3, 4, or 5. Yeah. It's honestly just up to the teacher. That's why these leap systems also kind of, how should I put it, just kind of flawed in a way because of how subjective it is.
Subject. I don't. Hmm. At the end of the
You don't
day,
think?
all teachers are biased.
Yeah.
So if that is your reason for saying it's subjective, then yeah, okay, I guess. But the thing I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about was in the thing I want to talk about is like do you think this um whole leadership thing makes CCAs and even CASs competitive?
Um. Yeah, for sure. Because if okay, I'll say CASs is not really that much, other than wanting to build your portfolio, which we can address later. But then for CCA at least, yeah, I'll say that this this sort of grading for the leap system, yeah, it will definitely make people want to compete for leadership positions. After all that, deducting those 2 points from your raw score definitely is very beneficial for you when you are going to JC, right? When you're picking a good JC, and yeah, and so I do think that yeah, it definitely makes people more competitive, as they will surely want to be more certain that they can achieve those 2 points, and yeah, and then they can just focus their final year on studying instead of focusing those final years on trying to get the teacher to give you those extra points
Well,
for
actually,
those extra
by
score.
the final year, I think like you have no chance already. I think
Yeah.
it was all
Oh yeah,
decided.
actually,
It was
yeah,
all
actually,
decided
by the final
one year
you step down
before.
already.
Yeah, it's all decided
Oh,
1 year before. But
uh,
okay, um, well, CCA is the time of CCAs has come and gone, well, at least for us.
uh,
But I think the issue of leadership is still there. Which okay, yeah, this is my main problem with school leaders and anybody with a title or responsibility
uh,
attached to them. Am I going to upset a lot of people? Probably. But I've always justified this position. Well, I've always attempted to justify this disapproving position,
yeah. Go
which
ahead.
is how sincere are you when performing your role? Because right, especially for our school, well, especially I don't
Mhm.
actually, you know what? I heard this even before entering our school. This concept of servant leadership is just hammered into us.
Yeah.
But is there really the servant bit? Is there really the leader bit?
Mhm.
What do you think?
Mm, is there? Wait. I kind of forgot. Servant leader means
Servant
when
leader
you
is servant
you
leader is
are
the idea of
leading by serving others or something.
yeah, it's like setting an example for others.
I mean, okay. For me, at least, I feel that everyone that takes a leadership position definitely have other motivations.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah. For example, there can be things such as portfolio, which is a
Yeah,
quite
portfolio
obvious thing.
is yeah, it's quite yeah.
And then what else?
What maybe the well the uglier truth probably includes bragging rights and satisfying
Ah,
one's ego. Not satisfying,
that's
sorry,
true.
stroking one's ego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
because yeah.
if I may, let me just be honest. I'm for the people that fall into the second category, those that want a leadership position just so they can say that they have a leadership position, or especially in this case, right, for CAS, for those who um want a leadership position because they have fear of missing out. I think that's how we use FOMO in this case. But yeah, just the fear of not having a leadership position. I think it's quite pathetic. Whereas for those who want a leadership position to beef up their portfolio, it's debatable. Because if you're doing something you like and you want to make that community of people that engage in the something you like, then it well, good for you. If you feel the desire to take charge and push this community in the direction that you want to go, then I think that's great. It looks good on paper, and people can see that sincerity. I think those types of leaders are the only acceptable ones. What do you think?
Mm,
Any comments about that?
I mean, yeah, if they genuinely like the cast, and then they want to benefit those that are already in it and make things better for them, or make things more fun for them, or more rewarding for them, then yeah, yeah, sure. And if them wanting to beef up the portfolio through that is a certain, yeah, if that's secondary to them wanting to serve the cast, then yeah, yeah, then I feel that's perfectly fine that they um that they boost their portfolio that way.
Huh? You said perfectly fine. Okay, you know how I was talking about systems, right? Like at
Uh,
the very start, I talked about, I brought up this idea of the education system.
yep.
And I think this topic is quite timely given that we just finished that today we just had our second university admissions talk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. So the statement that has always stood out for any admissions talk ever is we don't just focus on academics. We focus on
Mm,
other aspects.
mm,
And these other aspects comes from, well, your external experiences such as CAS. And the best way to flex
yeah, it's a
is
leadership position.
not necessarily, but it does flex well.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Flex well, it's definitely a thing. Okay, but yeah. So for the people who want to, okay, for the people who want to beef up their portfolio, right?
Yeah.
I I'm hesitant to approve of it, and I'm hesitant to approve or disapprove because while the sincerity is debatable, my concern is that can I really blame these people for having this motivation?
Yeah, because of how they're just so under pressure by the by the education system that they have to strive or push themselves to take up roles that they might not even want, just so that they can have a higher chance of going into the uni that they want to go into, you know. So yeah, I guess I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And then this ties in. Well, okay. I think this ties in perfectly with the idea of fake people that we talked about
Mhm.
how long ago, I don't know, some time ago, where this is just this front that they've adopted. So
Yeah.
just a bit of storytelling. For the longest time ever,
Mhm.
I really disliked prefects and student councillors.
Uh,
For prefects, they serve the school, right?
yeah.
And when you go to uh when you apply for DSA or
Mhm.
uni or whatever, like we're gonna get judged holistically, saying that I was a prefect and I did A B C D E F G. You have a lot to talk about in your interviews, and it just makes you seem like a more well-rounded person.
Yep.
That's the strategy that I used when I applied for TSA here.
Huh? Oh, you're a prefect.
Back in primary school when I was still quite stupid. Okay, and
Uh-huh.
my main problem with prefects is because they serve the school, and the school itself is a system, and I don't like the system. Therefore, I don't like the people who are supporting the system.
Uh-huh.
To me, it feels like they don't have their own personal. They don't have their own
Motivations.
personality. They don't have their
Uh-huh.
opinions. They are like mouthpieces.
What do you mean
As
by mouthpieces?
as in they just preach the school's message.
Oh.
Yeah, if you haven't already figured out by now, I'm very anti-authority.
Oh yeah,
Who
I have figured it
would be nice for I would love anarchy, but that doesn't work. All I can do is complain and hope things change itself. Actually, no. I shouldn't. I should try to change things, but I have to figure out a way to do that. Yeah, but
yeah,
that's for
can't
prefects,
do
right?
much. Yeah.
Then student counselors. For the longest time ever, I've I never liked them because I've always felt that they were useless. You know
Uh-huh.
how their speeches, right, all involved serving the school.
Yeah.
No, not serving the school. Sorry. Serving the students,
Community, yeah, the community.
and their scripts are about as creative as a physics paper.
You mean it's very scripted or what?
I mean, it's boring and unoriginal.
Uh-huh.
There's always a few keywords: serve, listen, represent, all, me, vote, care, care. Yeah, they repeat care a lot, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and also the school, the school, what do you call it? The values. It's a must.
mm, What do you mean school values?
No, as in whenever you hear a student counselor speak, usually they would definitely mention something about the school values, right?
Really? Oh, you mean the official school, like the appointed the ones that survived the competition. Why does it stutter so much? But yeah. Okay.
What do you mean by the competition?
Hello. It the student councillors are voted in by the student
Oh, that's what you
population.
meant. Oh no, oh wait, no, what I meant was that whenever they have speeches, they always tie it to things like safe service and community, you know? Because that's a
Not necessarily, but
but usually they do.
I get where you're coming from because they need to
Yeah.
they can't just go, we're gonna start a revolution because imagine a student population full of memes, and then this really strong uh leader or aspiring leader just goes up there and rallies everybody to go against the system. Oh, you can rest assured that I will vote for that fella. But obviously that won't work. If not, they won't even get through the teachers' approval stage.
Yeah.
I think.
They probably would.
Yeah. So they adopt a moderate line, which historically is the most boring line. But it can't be helped. Yeah, what was I saying before this? Oh yeah. So they say that they're going to serve the student body by
Yeah.
implementing changes and things and stuff. But every batch, after they come and go, nothing really happens.
Mm,
I mean,
okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. As in, you basically mean that they can possibly change something, but then they can't really do much. They can really impact the system to a great extent, right?
yeah, like nothing significant happens. At the
Yeah,
most,
yeah, yeah.
they just uh come out every few months, do something, and then retreat back into, I don't know, where do they retreat back into the meeting room. Yeah, but over time, I've realized that their ability itself is limited, and they probably mean well. So I've dropped that prejudice.
Mhm.
But I think this competitive spirit. I don't think spirit is even the right word here. This competition is still there, and I think it's problematic for both prefects, student councillors, and leaders, because it undermines sincerity for the portfolio.
Mm.
That's really just my issue with
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 leaders,
portfolio
the
chasing.
system. But then, portfolio chasing isn't really limited to just those two, right?
Yeah, it's not,
So,
but it's one of the things that I'm more passionate about. But
uh-huh.
yeah, portfolio chasing also includes doing other things.
Yeah,
I've always said that.
like,
I've always said that being a prefect or student councillor complements your other achievements.
oh,
Itself,
yeah, that's.
like just being a prefect or student councillor alone isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine just one line. XXXXX was a student councillor from the year 20XX to 20XX. It's one statement. It's pretty blah.
Yeah.
As compared to XXXXX was a student councillor from 20XX to 20XX, where they did ABCDEFG. They have also done XYZ, A1, B1, C1, D1, where and the XYZ part refers to the external events.
Yeah, but then what do you feel about those that push themselves to go for external events, although they are completely uninterested in it, just to build their portfolio?
Um. Okay. Firstly, I think it's great that they acknowledge the boundaries that have been placed. Because if you were like me in the past, right, that just decided that this is stupid, I'm not gonna do any of this. Yeah, you're not really going to, you know, be able to uh make a huge impact. Because ultimately, to defeat the system, you first need to survive it.
Yeah.
I've I've never thought about it that way before until some I don't know some time ago. There's also another quote from I don't know, I think a TED speaker that was like, no one has ever changed the world by listening to what the world has told them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like the middle approach between my philosophy, my past philosophy, and this quote. Yeah, but okay, that's it for the moderate line. Um, as for your question,
Yeah.
okay, I already talked about the approving bit. Now for the disapproving bit. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to elaborate?
Not really.
Then what do
It,
you,
it, it's
what do you
it's just
think?
that I mean, yeah, I also think it's just a very it's a very how should I, soulless process, perhaps. Like because you just don't get any, you don't get, okay, not any, but you don't get much joy from it just because you don't enjoy it. Then you still have to go through it because you, first of all, you've already signed up, right? And second of all, you are too, you are too deep into draw now. Because after you sign up for, for some of the programs, okay, at least those that are really eye catching to the to the university recruiters, right? Those
Mm.
have to be things that are, for example, 6 months or year long research projects, or maybe humanities research projects, which, yeah, is, yeah, pretty much the same thing. But then,
Okay.
uh, what was it reaction?
Why do you say research project and then specify humanities research project?
No, because usually people think that research projects are only, science research projects, just because they are usually only exposed to the science research projects.
Actually, if you think about it, right, when people say the word research, the first thing I think of is a microscope.
Huh? A microscope.
Like the image of a microscope just pops into my mind when someone says research.
Why?
The word research just sounds so sciencey.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why no one really
Okay, yeah.
expects
I understand.
humanities.
Thank you for the clarification.
Oh yeah, well, you're very welcome.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. So basically, as I was saying, and then sometimes what some people find themselves is that they sign up for these things, and then halfway through, not halfway through, maybe when they just get started, then they realize, oh wait, I actually do not care. First of all, the registration process for those are very laborious, and then you will take a long time, and then sometimes it might even include things such as interviews, and yeah, and sometimes you even need your teacher to help to help write statements to support you or something. Yeah, so but then at times you might just sign up and then you might just find that you actually don't really care about this research and all that you want is the portfolio, and then that is when it truly becomes it just becomes a chore, and then it just makes the whole process a lot worse. And then when someone like reaches that sort of stage, that is when I feel that portfolio chasing is really just not worth it, because what's the point of you feeling so exhausted, so so dead, just so and signing up for things that and signing up for things unwillingly, just for uni,
Mm,
that's basically how I
yeah.
feel about this.
So just to summarize, your disapproval stems from the lack of passion.
Because
Yeah,
I,
I agree. I agree.
I mean, okay, for I'm
But
not gonna lie, I also
hmm?
I have I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us have entered a certain phase in which we realize that, oh no, our portfolio is complete, it's so bad, while our peers ones are so much better, then we start.
It's the competitiveness
Exactly.
acting
I
up
mean,
in
I've also entered that phase,
us.
and
Yeah.
then I'm quite sure every like secondary school student have at least entered that phase for a while, unless they really just
I think this even
just
extends into the corporate, not corporate, the adult world. I'm not sure.
in which everyone's trying to beat their peers, get more projects, finish more projects, and just have more on their resume. I guess it's just I
Yeah,
guess yeah.
climbing the corporate ladder.
Oh,
Is those ideas. Yeah, but
yeah.
I don't know much about it to talk about it.
Okay, but basically we are just so used to being so competitive that we entered with that phase. Then then we say as someone that has entered that phase before, I'll definitely say that it's just it's just really not fun. You just feel for some of them, you either just do the bare minimum to just get the participation certificate, or
Okay,
you just
like
drag yourself into it.
I understand where you're coming from, but for the first time ever, I'm going to adopt a more positive mindset. Okay,
Uh-huh.
some people lose interest after a while because they just got scammed by the advertisement.
Okay.
Like, think about it. They were drawn in by the propaganda, which is
Uh-huh.
the okay, let's
The
say Cas,
the
for example lah. Cas, the Cas booth. Just made the Cas
uh-huh.
seem really fun and exciting, but you go in there, it's actually really boring. So
Yeah.
that's one example. A more extreme example would be open house.
Oh.
But propaganda is not necessary. To quote a certain someone, propaganda is not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on the context. But still, for the individual that has been drawn into the propaganda,
Uh-huh.
it can affect them positively or negatively. Positively, um if they want to try something new but aren't really sure what to do and have no particular interest, and then they thought that this looked attractive and they tried it and they actually enjoyed it and they really like it, then well, good for them. But
Oh,
the
so
the
basically,
the the inverse applies too, where they see an illusion. Okay, let's take theater for example. Performing on stage, right?
yeah.
Hearing the applause at the end of a performance. It is very satisfying. But the problem is the applause lasts 5 seconds. The performance at best 3 hours. The preparation, the rehearsal,
Months.
months,
Yeah.
months. It looks good. The pictures look good, but the process is pretty painful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those are the
Yeah.
positive and negative. So I don't think we should blame people for being upset at their choices. Just because someone signed up for a project that requires a commitment, and the commitment just okay, the commitment is there, but their interest fades after a while. We shouldn't really blame them for having a lack of interest.
But what I was trying to say were people that did not have an interest to begin with, and they only joined this because they only sign up for such programs because they just don't have anything else to sign up for, and then this is their last minute. This is them last minute trying to go like quickly get some get some of these experiences
Okay,
and yeah and
for
boost their
if you say last minute, right, then it's just what a shame. Just gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah.
Whereas if it's not last minute, then my question is, okay, yeah,
Yeah, but
I don't approve, but whatever. I cannot control people
mhm.
as much as I really want to. You know what you were saying has got me thinking about something. This whole feeling of okay, I'm just going to do this because I have to. It reminds me of times at night where I'm like, okay, tomorrow I am going to do this. I'm going to
Mhm.
become super productive.
Yeah.
And then when tomorrow comes, ugh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a sudden desire to completely change into a different person the next day.
Yeah.
It like I think a key difference that we gotta point out because this whole night thingy was discussed in episode I think 2, where we talked about 11 p.m. sadness, right? This
Yes.
one is just 11 p.m. burst of energy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, I completely get wherever you're coming from because I've also had moments where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna change myself and like from
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow onwards, I'm gonna do this, do that, and then it's all gonna somehow work out and not just like and just not just fail miserably like it has the past few days. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then next morning you wake up and then you do not have the energy and the motivation, and you're like, huh, okay, I'm just not gonna do anything.
No, this reminds me of planning as well. Mm, the IB is notorious for including planning as a part of the
Yeah, the
the
learning process.
yeah the whole I won't say learning the whole doing process where you have a
Uh,
plan where you must do up a plan, then you execute the plan, and then you reflect on the plan. Well, that's the ideal process, but really it's
yeah.
just you do up the plan, you attempt to execute the plan, it doesn't work, you go back to the plan, replan, attempt to execute plan V2, fail many times, repeat this process and then finish.
Mhm.
And because of the need to rewrite your plan, you have spent 4 times more energy than you need to.
Mm.
Okay, but that's planning in the eyes of the IB. I'm talking about planning for like just for us. You know how some people have a work schedule?
Um, I mean, I do not have one, but I assume other people do have.
Yeah. Well, that some other people is me. And for teachers it's called their scheme of work, right? But the scheme of work, the difference between a student plan and the teacher's scheme of work is that a teacher really needs a direction
Mm-hmm.
because ultimately they are guided by
Syllabus.
by the PDF.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, do we really need it? Do we really need a plan? I mean, at least like for revision schedule,
Mm-hmm.
do we really need a plan for revising?
I mean, okay. Uh,
I want to
I'll
hear
say
what you
it
have to say first
depends.
before
I would.
before
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I'll definitely say it depends because for someone that is disciplined, right, they can literally just sit down there, stack their textbooks on the side, and just take one textbook, study, and move on until they complete all of the subjects, all the required
Oh,
revision.
I don't think that's how
But
textbooks
then,
work, but I get what you're
okay,
trying to
okay,
say.
okay, okay, okay.
I get what you're trying to
Gather,
say. I get what you're
they
trying to say.
gather their study materials, including the possibly including the textbook. Okay, happy.
Okay, yes, I'm
Okay,
happy.
yeah, but okay, but then for someone like me, which I would just when there's a pile of study materials beside me, I would rather go go to YouTube and browse through YouTube or look through Instagram. You know, yeah, I would definitely I rather do I'd rather do things like that rather than study. So I guess it depends on your work ethic, and then
Okay, yeah, so you definitely need a plan.
yeah, I definitely need a plan. Although I
But
do not make one
yeah, but
because
the thing is, right, whatever you just said comes off as I am not suffering from a lack of planning. I'm just suffering from a lack of discipline.
yeah, okay. But I would say that the planning would possibly help would possibly help me to be more disciplined because if you
Is this idea of
i-
is this idea of breaking the problem into small
manageable
chunks?
chunks,
Yeah,
yeah.
isn't that a physics concept
No, wait,
where
huh?
where you analyze the individual parts
Oh, and
of
then
the
you see the
whole?
big image.
Yeah. So if anything, I think you should be an expert in this.
But then I don't know. Yeah, hmm.
Yeah,
I
but
oh,
the
okay.
point that I wanted to raise is, you know, when you do up a plan,
Mm-hmm.
or at least for me, when I do up a plan, I go, wow, okay, that's enough working for one day. I shall execute the plan tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then when tomorrow
Yeah,
comes, you still start whining.
yeah.
And then you push your plans back by a day, or you
Mm-hmm.
adapt, or you reschedule something. Then
Yeah.
wait, this is awfully familiar to. Oh yeah, we talked about accountability the last time. Yeah, that's why it's so familiar.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, oh, it's just like how we push back the podcast to Saturdays.
Yeah, sometimes we do that because we're just so tired. Like
Yeah.
there was the cast proposal form. I was like, okay, we're gonna record every Friday night.
Yeah, and it just didn't happen, huh?
And then some days at 5 I'm like, can we not?
Yeah, because sometimes school is just so tiring.
Okay, but at least for this episode, we recorded it on the 17th of July, which is a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably go up Sunday. I hope it's Sunday. Hey, listener, I hope you're listening on a Sunday. I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, plans. Okay. So problem with plans is for me, the problem with plans is that planning to do the work is often it's not often, it's definitely easier than actually doing the work.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's like, okay, I am going to have an exercise plan, which includes what I am going to do and when I am going to do it. Usually the problem is
Actually going.
the when I'm going to do it part. And then in the rare not rare, okay, maybe not rare. If the when has been achieved, the what might be compromised. You may say, I am going to do X reps of this exercise. But then you get lazy and go, I'm just actually going to settle for X minus Y reps of exercise. Or of a certain exercise. And then you and then you attribute it to I've overestimated myself and my body pain, which like it's understandable because injuries are the last thing you want. But at the same time, if anything, it just shows that it's very easy to plan. Anybody can do a plan.
Yeah.
The difficulty is in following through.
Difficulty is in who actually executes it.
There's this statement quote, I don't know. It's not this thing I heard where people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. I think everybody recognizes the first half.
Recognizes the what?
The first half of the statement, where people overestimate what they can do in a day. Because
Yeah.
nearing exams, right? I'm pretty sure like all of us have suffered this. You say, I'm going to revise bio and what's a subject that is vaguely related to bio? I'm gonna
Chemistry.
maybe not vaguely. Okay. What's a terrible example? Yeah, I'm going to study math and history today. Firstly, the subject areas are so removed, and secondly, it is much easier to say that you are going to study math.
Yeah.
And if you are the rare breed of people who can look at a math problem without wanting to break down, see if you can say the same for history. I don't believe that there are people who can do both without okay, there are people who can do both without wanting to break down in either, but I think it's rare. Or maybe I'm just dumb.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
so back your point.
yeah, my point is that it is very easy to say I'm going to study math and history. And sometimes we even narrow it down. Okay, I'm going to study what's a math topic? I'm going to revise calculus and statistics. I don't even know why you would need to revise that, but let's go with that. I'm going to revise calculus and statistics. Whereas for history, you go, I am going to revise the reasons for the rise of Hitler.
Mhm.
But let's be real. Everything there is so heavy. I'll be impressed if you can complete it in the 6 hours you have after school. Sometimes I plan my work and then like it actually took more time to complete task A, which means I have less time for task B. So task B eats into task C, and then by the end of the day I go, huh. Any similar experience?
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, it this always happens when before the day before the exam, when I just keep delaying. When I reach home, I sleep. Then when I wake up, I just go, okay, I'll rest until after dinner. Then I'll study after dinner. Then after dinner, I start playing my phone also. Then it delays to even later and later until sometime around 9 to 10 o'clock. Then I realize, oh wait, it's 6 hours to the exam and I need to sleep. Then I start cramping everything. Yeah. Then that's when
that's for cramping. This ties into procrastination, but just before we get there, we've pretty much gone full circle already. We have a plan. We fail to stick to the plan. We push everything back. At least for me, I push everything back. Some people don't even push anything back. And then it come 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and you look back on the day and you sigh.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, I am going to change myself from tomorrow onwards because all of a sudden I care about my academics.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Now on to procrastination. For our listeners, before you listen to this part, strongly encourage you to listen to Tim Urban's TED Talk on procrastination. I will the link is in the description box. So yeah, feel free to pause here, and once you're done with that video, then come back here because we're going to ground our discussion of procrastination in that TED Talk. Right. So, um, let's pick up at the realization that you have 6 hours to go for your exam.
Yeah.
Tim Urban's philosophy is that the panic monster has activated in your mind, which is what is driving you to
Which is what scares off the distraction monkey.
pro-
The
procrastination monkey, is it?
I don't remember. I just remember, I just remember it symbolizes procrastination and it's in the form of a monkey.
Yeah, the monkey. Right?
Procrastination monkey.
Yeah, let's just call it the monkey because procrastination is a very It's sort of a tongue twister. It's four syllables. Yeah, okay, monkey. Yeah, so the monster chases away the monkey, and then suddenly you have to revise 2 years worth of content in 6 hours. But let's be real, that's an extreme case.
Mm,
Well, I think it's an extreme case. Don't tell me that's a normal case for you.
I mean, that did actually happen.
Where you cram the syllabus on the night before the exam.
Yeah, I did. Then I regretted it. So the next test, I actually started earlier at like 7 o'clock instead of starting at like 9:10.
That's not any better.
But it's at least 2 hours more, right? It's at least a slight improvement.
Yeah, it's okay, yeah, sure. Yay. Well done, you improved. But
That's why my body gets completely wrecked after the exam.
yeah, because you have no work ethic. But yeah. So procrastination, right? I This is why I complain about school once again. I feel that to a certain extent, the workload that students get is unreasonable.
Okay.
As in, if you have effective time managing techniques, which basically translates to if you don't have the monkey in your brain,
Which is rare.
yeah, the workload is the workload is manageable.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
from a very logical point of view, if I start on the introduction today and develop my 6 body paragraphs over the next 3 weeks, take 1 week to just check, edit, and improve my paper,
Mhm.
I can finish writing this random paper that I just made up within the deadline,
Mhm.
which is 5 weeks, which is I think pretty tight for a paper. Most deadlines, or at least for us last year, the deadlines were longer.
Wait, 5 weeks for what? But my question is, what sort of paper are you talking about? Is it a mini essay, or do you mean a sort of IA and a research
Let's
paper?
just go with like the mock IAs that we had last year.
Oh, those. No, but
Why do you suddenly switch to that voice? Just
no,
those.
it's just I don't know. I just felt those were very.
It brings back painful memories.
Yeah, it's just. But then to be fair, 5 weeks is actually very long. It's just a mock IA because the mock IAs were just they the teachers didn't require a full IA. Like at least they didn't. Yeah, they didn't require a full one. Like for example, math, they only wanted us to do a partial one if I don't remember wrongly. Yeah, they wanted us to do a partial one. Yeah, so 5 weeks is actually quite generous.
I think you are remembering wrongly. I know math was extremely painful because you had to do everything.
It was just but then compared to the real IA though, this was the work was like it is
Well,
at least half
yeah. Well, if you're gonna get a bunch of pre-IB students to do an
IA.
IBIA, then there's really no point in coming to the IB to do the IA.
Oh no, what I was saying is the mock I oh by mock IA you meant the IAs that were actually graded last year. That's what you mean by mock IAs.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the mock IAs to the IAs that we did last year. So like the you know how we had
Oh,
practices before the actual
I
graded ones. Yeah, I
like
thought you referred to those. Yeah, but yeah, if you're talking about but by your definition of the mock IAs, then yeah, 5 weeks is is a very short period of time because those things take months, or at least we are given months, but we didn't really use the months, did we?
yeah. So and then there's no teacher that I've met that hasn't said a thing about time management.
Yeah.
And I
It's
just the thing that I want to get out of my system is I understand. It's just that, like planning. It's a lot easier to say manage your time. The deadline is reasonable. You need to have effective time management strategies. And you need to have the self-discipline to cope with the course. Yeah, everybody knows. Oh, I think everybody knows that.
yeah.
It's a matter of fighting that monkey. And they always associate procrastination with this dysfunctional behavior. Like, laziness is well, laziness is an obstacle, or at least, it's a hurdle.
Mhm.
Like think of it as like a, wi- what the heck? I can see the image in my head, but what's the word? Um, a
What?
weighted ball on a chain cuffed to your ankle.
Uh-huh.
It's that kind of thing. Laziness just drags you down and slows you down.
Yeah. But then not like you can really block the chain. Yeah.
So
That's what
like
makes it
I
so
think
hard.
my issue with procrastination, or at least the way that school is addressing procrastination, is that they probably don't really have an understanding, or at least after listening to the TED talk, I think what it says makes sense, but it's in the obviously the kind of sense.
Oh. Yeah.
No one has ever used the procrastination monkey analogy. Because, yeah, you know how we're talking about portfolios, right?
Yeah.
Just now. And I talked about how people chase statements in their portfolio because they recognize the system. I think it'll benefit everybody
Mhm.
if they recognize the three creatures that operate in our minds.
But then at the same time, although you recognize it, but then it's very hard to really do much because yeah, I remember doing I remember trying to sign yeah, some portfolio chasing also, but yeah, I remember trying to sign up for some humanities research program, right? Then basically the topic I wanted to do was about self-regulation, and then
Oh, the
uh,
irony, huh?
yeah, but it is linked to this after all.
Okay,
So
okay, go on,
basically,
go on.
my yeah, after reading about the stages of self-regulation by I forgot who's the guy, I think Zimmerman or something. Then yeah, that basically I my biggest problem with that whole researching was that how am I gonna promote self-regulation? Because it's not like I send a survey to the whole Singapore, so I limited it to our school only. Then I just was thinking about how do I even try to promote self-regulation among students? You know, like yeah, yeah. So I did not know how, and then all I can possibly do if I actually got it was that I just sent a survey and asking them whether they knew what self-regulation was, and then yeah, that wouldn't actually help much, and yeah, that's probably why I didn't get through because I couldn't really think of a way to, or me and my partner couldn't think of a way to really tackle this issue.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, even okay, I don't want to discount any professional's efforts, but
Uh-huh.
you know, counselors, right? When you go to them, or at least I think this is what will happen. I've never went to a counselor to talk about this. But if you go to them and say that you are stressed, you
Yeah.
most likely say that you are
Yeah.
stressed because you have a lot of work. And now, guess the counselor's response?
Uh, oh, full-time
Okay, guess the counselor's response. What is it?
full-time management.
Poor time management, and then they will say, what
Uh,
the solutions to poor time management?
timetable.
Timetable planning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's so difficult to deal with procrastination, and it doesn't help that, like, um, at least the adults that we deal with view it as they blame us for growing up. Because if everybody is procrastinating to a certain degree, right? Maybe
Yeah.
the problem isn't, you know, within an individual student. Maybe it's something to do with the culture. Like we shouldn't fault. Okay, think about this. Do you blame the people who get okay? Do you a sick person, right?
Yeah.
Do you blame them for getting sick?
Oh.
I mean, it depends. If they invited sickness into their body, then yeah. Okay, maybe it's bad. Let's see.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
um, crime victims are.
Yeah.
Do you blame the victim for being a victim?
But then that's it, right? It also is a matter of whether they invited it upon themselves. For example, if someone deliberately goes loan money from loan sharks, obviously they're just begging for themselves to become a victim, right?
Okay, yeah, okay. See, with that analogy, right, we always have to consider the circumstances that drove them to borrowing from loan sharks.
Yeah.
So it's always a matter of circumstance. And do you blame the victim for getting into that circumstance? Maybe, maybe not. In the case of maybe not, then you got to view at other factors too. And then, you keep questioning until you get to the root cause. But the thing with procrastination is that procrastination is not the root cause. I've read somewhere that laziness and procrastination are just an inevitable part of humans. And to constantly criticize the student for being lazy and having poor time management skills is detrimental to their growth. Well, at least for me, I'll just get really angry. But and then for the people that really don't care, it's not going to change anything. And the monkey is a very powerful creature. Wouldn't you say so? And in some way, you've got to. It's quite similar to what we talked about emotions last week or 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. We talked about emotions, right?
Yeah.
And how we're supposed to use the emotions to guide us in the right direction. Like there's this same idea of taming the monkey
And it's just
into liking what it does. But it's a bit harder, right? Because Tim Urban said that the monkey loves to play in the dark playground.
oh yeah.
The dark playground where fun is undeserved. And there's this underlying dissatisfaction because you know that you don't deserve to play in the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
It's just I feel what makes it so powerful is just our innate nature, you know. It's just that we are just naturally born, like after all the seven deadly sins exist, you know, then when we just are naturally lazy, naturally we're just naturally lazy, naturally jealous, naturally but basically the key sin that we're focusing on now is laziness, the sin of sloth. Then so the reason why the monkey and the sloth, but then so the reason why it's just so powerful is just because we're just innately born, and one of our innate traits is just that we are lazy. Yeah.
okay.
That's just all I have to say. It's just that is why it's so powerful, is because and also I can say it's because of how worn out we are in our daily school life. In secondary school we had at least we had projects, then we had tests, we had CCA commitments. Now in JC it's even worse. We have IA, EE, POK, tests tests every week actually. System tests tests every week. And then also our CASs, some of us have I'm quite sure most of us have more than 3 in order to get more hours, and then some having up to 7 or 9, you know, depending on how
you've got to be crazy to have 7.
I have 7.
You are crazy. Okay, but
But so we're just so drained by that we do not have the mental willpower to fight this monkey. And then relating to the research that I said I did on self regulation, I remember one of the determining traits whether you could not one of two of the determining things in which determines whether you can or cannot self-regulate. One of them is your mental strength, and the other one is the number, the second one is how ingrained this habit is in your day-to-day act.
you want to hear my opinions on whatever you just said?
Now go ahead.
the two factors, right, that you listed.
Ah,
Duh.
yeah, but like I'm just pointing it out, right?
Okay, but yeah, at least you are acknowledging it.
I mean, if you want to, I can go Google the four stages of self-regulation right now.
Huh? Wait, that exists?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Actually, wait, is it even four stages? Give me a second. It's been a long time. I just remember those two. I remember reading on it. I don't really remember that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite sure. Is it four stages? I think. Yeah. Forethought, planning and activation, monitoring, control, reaction and reflection. And then okay, three. Oh wait, the three phases are by Zimmerman. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but basically the three phases are forethought, performance, and self-reflection. Okay, pretty much the same thing. Which is the planning, the doing, and then the reflecting.
Wait, this is related to what again? Procrastination. Self-regulation.
Self-reflection, self-regulation. Yeah, regulation.
Okay. I don't think we need to explain that because it's pretty aligned to the IB process. But like with every problem, or at least we try. Like with every problem that we raise here, we always attempt to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
And the way that I like to trick the monkey in my head to do something
Mm-hmm.
is, well, actually there's two ways, but I don't really like the second one.
What are the two ways?
The first way is to visit the dark playground.
Okay.
So the way I visit the dark playground is this is I don't know what's been happening to me, but my body's been functioning like this. I'll get back home from school, I'll eat lunch, and then I'll feel extremely tired.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when I put it that way, it's an everybody problem. But I can only ever sleep in the afternoon, and I can
Yeah.
never ever fall asleep at night,
Huh.
even if my naps are very short.
Uh-huh.
Like even taking a half an hour nap, right? I won't be able to sleep at like 12. There's one day, I think this week, where I went to bed at 12:30,
Uh-huh.
and then I didn't sleep until about 1:45.
Yeah, because you just look at your phone and then
No, no,
just
no. I don't
think,
look at my phone. My phone was already
oh,
off. Not off. My phone was already placed on the table beside me by then. But my mind was just so active. It was just thinking about, okay, what am I gonna talk about for this podcast? What am I gonna do with my other cancers? What do I have to do for my essays? My essay test. What am I going to do for this and that and this and that and this and that?
mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be nice? Then my imagination kicks in, and then it starts coming up with all these hypothetical scenarios that I wish would become a reality. Like daydreaming, except not really day. And
Uh-huh.
it,
So
it's not really
yeah.
dreaming because it's just mental images.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really scary today. Today I took a nap. Okay, this is I'm going a bit off here, but hear me out. I was taking a nap from 4:30. Then I intended to take a half an hour nap because I read that anything longer and you feel groggy.
Oh.
I closed my eyes from 4:30 to 4:40, and I've already entered the dreaming stage of sleep,
Yeah.
which I don't think is supposed to happen, right? You have to go through stages 1 and 2 before entering the dreamy bit.
Yeah, the deep sleep, I think.
Yeah, which was really weird. And the only reason why I awoke from the dream was because there was this there was this part where I was forced to go through uh spider webs, and I was like, yeah, no. Then
Okay.
I think I don't know. I just managed to like snap out of it, which which reminds me a bit of lucid dreaming. Oh my god, lucid dreaming is pretty fun.
You know, honestly, right? I've actually never had a lucid dream before.
Oh, I had a lucid dream. Let me tell you. Okay, let me just share with you my experience. The dream that the lucid dream that I remember very fondly is the time where, for some reason, there was a war, and because
Okay.
dreams are dreams, right? There's no proper context. There's no proper you don't know what's going on. All I remember was that
Yeah.
suddenly I had the ability to kill people, but I didn't see any other people. And
Uh-huh.
there was this yeah, for some reason escalators were still functional in this in this place where virtually every building has been wrecked. But an
Uh-huh.
escalator was still functional. Then there was this
Mhm.
part where I had to jump off like a pretty high platform in order to escape some building. I don't really remember. And then I remember my dream self saying that, okay, this is just a dream, just jump. And just jump I did. Which is really fun. Because I got to do all the I could experience things that that I normally couldn't in real life.
So you jumped off where again?
I jumped off like a really tall platform onto the ground below.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
it is the height where your legs would break. But because
Uh-huh.
lucid dream, what
Oh.
is injury?
Well, you get to go through those sort of lucid dreams. I have these sort of, I don't know what you call it. You know, sometimes when you're just sleeping and then suddenly you just dream you fall off a stair, like you just fell off a flight of stairs. You just like jolt awake. Yeah, that is what I experienced. Not
Oh,
your jumping
apparently,
off a platform.
um, the jolt awake thing, right, is your body not your body being confused about whether or not you are still alive, so it just shocks you. I think that's
Oh.
it. It's the whole like I'm falling thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
gosh, those were, and then also sleep paralysis. Oh gosh,
Now sleep paralysis is
those were.
actually okay. You know, we went off a bit, but I'm just gonna use sleep paralysis to bring us back to the right path. Sleep paralysis
Oh,
happens when you're very stressed, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you know, all this time we've been talking about how stress has been caused by school, work, and
Yeah.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
The thing I want to address now is how peak productivity can, if anything, create more stress. There's this recurring joke where where students are very stressed and so they take a break, but they get even more stressed during the break because they're not working on what's making them stressed in the first place.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So this kind of implies that we should be constantly at work.
Mhm.
And going back to the whole theme of procrastination,
Yeah.
it's like in order to survive this system, you gotta give up your social life, you gotta give up oh
Oh gosh. Okay.
you've gotta
Yeah.
give up your social life, you've gotta give up your gaming life
Mhm.
and focus all your time on work. Which
Mhm.
um I I disagree
Mhm.
because I'm pretty sure you can still factor in a bit of social life if you actually manage your time properly, but managing your time properly involves not looking at Reddit and
Yeah.
Instagram for a few hours a day. I've talked so time management, right? The question I want to ask now is what is peak productivity to you?
To me, you mean as in my with respect to my current workload?
No, as in what does peak productivity look like to you? Just in for a student.
What does it look like to me?
Yeah.
I mean, what does it look like to me? It's just whenever I have free time, instead of just watching videos, reading manga, and yeah, instead of doing all of that nonsense, I sit down, start working on my homework, which is getting exceedingly, um, yeah, like a lot piling up. And yeah, and do things like my EE that I haven't really touched, and then
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
and then my TOK also,
Oh,
which I also haven't really touched.
you are really bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, but yeah, so peak productivity will just be whenever I have free time and not like completely exhausted, not completely mentally dead and just physically dead also. Yeah, like those times instead of wasting it watching videos or doing other things that just distract me, I spend my time doing work instead and be productive. That is my idea of peak productivity.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh wait. But
But
right, if you want to push it even further, right, you can
uh,
even go as far as to whenever every single moment when you are free, you do something. For example, you go on your way to school, you start reading some research article about your EE. Yeah, that would be like super. In my eyes, that would be the peak of peak productivity. You know.
uh, that is extreme. But
Oh.
yes, that is the peak productivity. You wake up at 6:15 a.m. or at least for me, I wake up at 6:15 a.m. You eat your you portion your breakfast to be 3 minutes, and then your routine
How?
to be 7 minutes, and then you catch the 6:32 train. You
Oh.
change at you change trains at 6:36, and yeah, you get the gist of it.
Yeah, I get your point.
So that is peak productivity, right? Or
Uh-huh.
at least perceived, for me, perceived peak productivity.
Yeah.
Because it sounds really good, right? You put in all this effort. You spend all your you spend every waking moment slaving away
Mm-hmm.
for well, in this case the IB, but for other people probably whatever exams that they are sitting.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that is how much work are you really getting done? My question is it just because you study for 8 hours doesn't necessarily mean that you
You
will
really,
score better than someone who studied for
yeah,
8 minutes. And
yeah. That's
we have
true.
seen instances of this happening. Some people can study for the test during the test and still do better than everybody else. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I remember. So
It was an
someone,
open book.
so
It was an open book analysis.
English
Yeah,
analysis,
where I commented
while
about it.
yeah, and while some people spend the whole night or the whole day before preparing, some other people just started reading, not even started looking for quotes, started reading the book in the middle of the test and scored the same score.
I think it's got better.
Yeah, it's got better.
It's just he was doing unseen for paper two.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, that was
Okay, yeah, but if anything, I think this example has driven the point. Like, yeah, it just underscores the problem with
but wait, but at
peak
the same time,
productivity.
right? Yeah, but my problem with that sort of, I don't know, argument, I guess, is that if one achieves peak productivity and yet isn't able to be, like, for example, yeah, like the example you just provided, someone just spent maybe the past 2 days studying something, and that is their and like maximum and making their studying at a peak productivity. In the meantime, someone else, just does it during just starts reading the book during the exam, look for quotes and analyze it during the exam itself, and then
Mm.
someone scores better. But then wouldn't you say that if they didn't study at peak productivity, they would have scored even worse. And in that case, they should continue to strive for such peak productivity.
Okay. See, that's where we bring in the other term, efficiency. You
Uh-huh.
know, work smart, not work hard. Yeah, that concept.
Yeah.
For the person who studied a lot, I think
Uh-huh.
they should examine their method of studying.
Okay, maybe you should say study a lot, more of study for a long period of time.
Isn't that study a lot?
But it depends,
Okay,
I mean, some
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
spend,
I
yeah,
understand, understand. Okay, okay. Yeah, see, you've pretty much got it. Like, they're not being efficient about it.
yeah.
And okay, so okay, but to be fair, maybe the person who studied for a longer period of time is just weaker in that subject.
Yeah, and so yeah, they just don't get it as quickly.
Yeah, especially for like math. I think it's the best example where you have to actually practice the questions in order to be able to apply the concepts. Yeah, if like you someone explains the concepts to you, and then you are able to apply it to almost any problem you can see within like 2 hours of learning the thing, then you are incredibly efficient and good for you. But we shouldn't laugh at the people who take more time to understand and therefore require more time to study.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. That's
you see, the thing is, it the problem is what is the acceptable limit for additional study? Think about this.
uh,
Math, right? Or at
yeah.
least in primary school, we were trained to spot questions.
What do
I remember my teacher saying that there's only so many questions that can come out for
you,
PSLE. So we
oh
literally
yeah.
trained for every type of question.
Uh-huh.
And if you do that now, right, it's impossible.
Yeah, because the questions have become a lot less regurgitation and more problem solving.
Yeah, exactly. It is very applied and um let's be real. There is no application in the primary school syllabus. Well, there's hardly
Yeah,
any application.
yeah. Maybe because it's just too hard, lah.
It's not too
When you only
it
know,
is yeah. What are you gonna apply like the concept of how photosynthesis to?
oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because when you only learn the foundations, there isn't really enough to
Yeah,
really
exactly.
do much with it.
Yeah. And then in primary school, you probably could have spot the questions, but in now, right, you learn about um you learn about functions and you learn about let's say infinity, right? There's no way you're gonna
Uh-huh.
be able to spot every question related to functions and infinity, especially for what do you call it, HR math. I know that there is the surprise paper 3 where you have to learn a concept during the test itself. Is that correct?
Wait, that's for math,
Paper 3, yeah, I think.
actually.
I know
Eh?
it's a
Oh yeah,
framework.
wait. Yeah, I think it's I actually don't remember, but yeah, I think such a paper exists. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Oh
a
yeah, it's math. It's math. Yeah, it's math.
yeah, it's a you can't spot that. So if this slower person's method of studying is to memorize the question types, then that's why we can criticize them. Because that's not efficient. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's very inefficient.
Yeah, exactly. So that is my first issue with peak productivity. Because it is perceived to be peak productivity. You look like you are working very hard, but you're not really doing a lot. You're not really achieving a lot. And my second issue with it is it just seems it, to a certain extent, and actually to a large extent, I think it is idolized. You and me, right? Just imagine someone. Uh, okay. Let's say that we have a friend X. Okay, as we are hanging out with, let's say we're going out for lunch with friend X, and then friend X joins us for lunch, and then friend X yeah, about 45 minutes into lunch, friend X goes, "Oh, sorry, I have to go home and study." And then they go home and then they actually study. It, do you not feel any shock?
I mean, okay. First of all, I'll say that it depends on the situation. Whether it's like if the person has a assignment, assignment of high weightage due tomorrow, then yeah, I'm
Okay,
for sure
fine.
gonna do it.
Then let's define some parameters. No assignments in sight for the next 4 weeks.
Oh,
Research deadlines are all months away.
yeah.
And really there's nothing okay, let's just suppose like they this lunch has happened on the 15th of June during the school holiday.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Tuesday
Uh-huh.
at 2 p.m. We are going out for a meal, and then friend X does this.
Yeah.
It's like, huh?
Yeah. It definitely it definitely is very surprising.
Yeah, and um, to you and I, right? It looks very this level of control and discipline is quite impressive,
Yeah.
isn't it? And everybody just, well, at least everybody kind of respects this discipline. But the problem is
Yeah.
that it just seems like, actually no, this example is not very good. I think a better example is you invite friend X over and friend X is like, no, sorry, I gotta study, and they actually study.
Uh-huh.
That is being productive. You are slaving. You are slaving for. Yeah, you're just slaving away, right?
Yeah.
And my point is, why do we idolize, or at least why do we approve of this sort of behavior?
Mm,
You know how I talked about meaning of life last one 2 episodes ago?
yeah.
It's like the whole meaning of life is to study and work. Is that necessarily a good thing?
Most certainly not.
Like, that is my problem with perceived peak productivity.
Mhm.
It it leaves no room for freedom. Yeah, free, what I'm talking about. It leaves no room for fun in the traditional sense. Cares
Yeah.
does not count as fun. Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
it does not, because it's still ultimately part of the IB. Therefore, it's not fun.
Mm. Wait, so you're saying, you know what's not fun?
Cas is not fun
Uh,
because it's part of the IB. Yeah. So that's my issue with perceived peak productivity. But some people might counter argue with I don't know what lah, but there's gotta be some people that disagree with me. What about you?
um, I mean, yeah. I guess the reason why we would all kind of be surprised when someone tries to strive for such productivity is just that we ourselves personally just cannot achieve such a state. And then and then yeah, for sure it also kind of, I say, considering how competitive we are, it also kind of scares us that
Oh yeah, the
it
competitiveness.
scares us that others are working that hard. Because for example, I remember watching some video about, you know how the Koreans have a very major test. Okay, basically the Koreans have a very major test when they are in roughly, yeah, I think, yeah, they basically have a test before going to uni, kind of like our A levels and IB, just
Yeah, yeah,
a lot
yeah.
more serious, yeah, and
Oh, I heard that
a lot more content.
it's infamous for the English paper.
So I'm not sure, but I just know that it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
extremely hard, yeah, and yeah, I think yeah, it's just extremely hard. And then I remember the reason. Okay, so I think one of the kids was one of the not kids, one of the teenagers was one of the students taking the test for a question on. Okay, so what exactly leads to everyone studying? Because they study like for the whole year, right? They study for about 8 hours a day, which is crazy. At least to us, it's crazy. And
Eight
yeah,
hours a
so
day.
yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, yeah, can you just imagine studying that much per day? I'm quite sure some people don't even, okay, at least I don't even study that much before the exam. Yeah, but yeah, so basically the reason why that guy the reason that guy gave was that, so it all starts off with this with student A and student B, and then student B possibly studies an hour and then scores higher. Then student A studies 2 hours and then yeah, and then scores higher. Then they keep competing, and eventually both students are studying on average 8 hours a day just to catch up, just to compete with each other. So yeah, so I feel that the reason why peak productivity yeah, is something that we'll be surprised by, is because we also kind of are afraid of, or maybe not, yeah, we're afraid of how it might kind of affect us. And maybe that is why people also, I don't know, will you say people condemn others for peak productivity?
Condemn.
Okay, or is it too strong?
I
Maybe.
think it's too strong.
Do you feel some people mock others for
Mock.
being so hardworking? Because I at least I feel last year this was present, but this year maybe less of it.
I, mm, I think you gotta interpret the mocking carefully, because I don't
Oh,
think they're like actually mocking you. It's just their way of expressing shock.
oh, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I oh yeah.
I think that's that for the mocking and the peak productivity part.
Mm-hmm.
Like to just close off this section, it's really just think about what your purpose of living is really. If it's just slave away to get a 45 plus 10
Um,
external experiences, then
yeah.
no,
But okay,
no.
but to be fair, I'll say it also depends on the person. If the person has a very clear goal and then they slip away now, for example, if someone to be a okay, maybe the easiest example to give is a doctor because after that's the occupation where you actually have to slave in academics,
Yeah,
right?
no. But see, that's okay. At least according to my logic, I think that's fine because they have a direction and they are working hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really my argument. You gotta have a direction if you're going to do this. If you're gonna subject yourself to this torture,
Suffering,
yeah,
pain.
suffering, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
And then, well, since we're almost at the end,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to point out that most of most of this most of my claims and arguments just really come from analyzing my life and what I observe in other people.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to the final topic that we have planned on reflections.
Uh-huh.
I know we've talked about this last week. So this week the thing I wanted to focus on was hindsight. Let's be real. In hindsight, we wouldn't have done a lot of things, right?
Yeah, for sure. But then at the same time, if we really, oh yeah, but how I see is that if we really went back, would we have done anything different? Cause honestly, I would say probably not.
Yeah, exactly. Because hindsight is it's just like um a way of learning. I'm not gonna say knowing, a way of learning from our mistakes and then moving forward with life.
Yeah.
And I think we're just gonna tie everything in nicely. For
Mm-hmm.
for me, when I'm editing the podcast,
Uh-huh.
there are some instances where my opinion has changed. I can be we can be talking now, right, on a Friday,
Yeah.
and then just about like 18 hours later when I'm editing on Saturday evening, I'll listen to you and me and go, what are these two clowns talking about?
Uh-huh.
And then I'll get frustrated because I can't go back in time and say a different thing.
Yeah. So you just have to deal with it.
So I just sigh, and since this is the end of the first season, I would like to revisit a few things that I think we didn't have a well, I wasn't satisfied with the way I concluded it. And I think that
Okay.
your opinions on some issues might have changed over the course of these 5 weeks. Even though on YouTube it's like a week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So first thing that I wanted to recap was
We just go according to the order that we did it.
yeah, we just go according to the list here. Because I think it goes nicely. So
Mm.
pseudo philosophy, meaning of life, and wisdom. You know how we say that age comes with wisdom
Yeah.
to a certain
To a
extent.
certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that I want to uh highlight is you shouldn't make fun of people for perceiving things differently.
Yeah, for sure.
Like to an adult, right?
Yeah.
Betrayals, drifting friends, and this kind of undesirable stuff is an inevitable part of life. But for a
Yeah.
16-year-old, that might be a bit much.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make that clear that try and guide others along the way, but you shouldn't criticize others who
Mhm.
are walking the same road as you
Yeah.
are.
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
that you want to add about that?
Actually, no. I felt that was quite a nice way to conclude this whole
I know,
thing.
right? It's such a nice way to pack everything, to pack these three topics.
Yeah. You sounded a lot. You sounded. You sound like someone at the very end of their life. You're just going,
No,
they just at
no,
their
no,
deathbed, just saying
no,
this
no, no,
before
I don't want.
before perishing.
Okay, yeah. Then,
Ah,
okay, moving on to role of emotions and dealing with emotions. You, you know how the moderate line is the best line, right?
wait, what do you mean by the moderate lines of best line?
Because just now we talked about how if there was this like if there was this really radical candidate for council,
Oh,
I would vote for them.
yeah,
But radical people aren't
desirable by the system.
yes. So moderate line, best line.
Oh,
Yeah. So and I guess that's the thing that I want to clarify with emotions.
mhm.
Sometimes it's important to listen to them and let them guide you along because ultimately you need to trick your feeling brain and your monkey into doing what it needs to be done. But you shouldn't use emotions as you shouldn't always fall back to emotions as an excuse to be lazy.
Uh-huh.
You like
Yeah,
okay, with criticism that there should be a balance of positives and
yeah.
negatives.
Oh,
Positives to encourage you, negatives for you
work on
to
it.
yeah.
Mm.
And I think like the problem that some people have is we just talked about the desire to change into this amazing human being at 11 p.m.
Yeah,
at night.
yeah.
It's basically that. You can't say I will just work on it tomorrow. It is okay if I'm lazy because this person said that laziness is inevitable. Therefore, I'm fine. No. That is the misconception that I want to address.
uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Anything about emotions from you?
I guess just emotions is just I guess you just get better to deal with it as we age, and then just hope that I don't know we can deal with it until we are at a certain level that we can just accept it.
Yeah. And moving on to classifications,
Classifications.
narcissism, and gender roles, right? In the previous episode, I think I came off as a bit
Forceful.
passionate
Okay. Uh-huh.
for change.
Mm-hmm.
Eh? Was it? Huh. Wait, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't remember what I want to say because I don't want people to get the wrong impression of me. It's just that uh, uh, for classifications, gender roles, and narcissism, I think the main message that I'm trying to send is that you shouldn't place so much emphasis on labels, just as you shouldn't place as much emphasis on removing the labels.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, uh,
So basically, you shouldn't. Well, no, you shouldn't, or more of like you should try not to desperately squeeze yourself into a certain category
yeah,
just
yeah,
so
yeah.
you can feel more.
I think
I,
I think it's just a matter of excessive passion.
what do you mean by excessive passion?
Because damn, there was this example from I okay, you know the mother and the son daughter thing you raised last week.
Mother son.
The one that raised the mother that raised the son like a daughter.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's basically it's basically that. So like the desire to doing the polar opposite of what you're trying to change as a way to change things is equally bad.
Yeah.
That's
It's too extreme. It's way too extreme.
yeah, that's it, really.
So we
And
might as well just say that making small changes.
yeah, and then okay, I finally remembered like what drove me to pointing this out. So for my first uh math class on descriptive statistics, for some reason it just moved in the direction of gender equality.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
And
uh,
I think the distinction I want to point out is like the difference between equality and equity.
equity. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
like gender equality should be achieved, or at least the way we achieve the way we go about trying to bring up the way we try to bring about gender equality should be through gender equity.
Ah. Ah.
Yeah,
Wait. You know the one where they use three people of different heights
yes,
as the
I've
example,
seen
right?
that post many
Yeah.
many
It's
times
wait.
on
It's
fake deep
okay. I
posts.
don't know, but basically, right? Is equality the one where they stand on the same height as two, or is equity the one where they stand on the same height as two? Equality is
Equality,
right.
yeah.
The equity is the one where they all have different heights in order for their
Equity is kind of like it's kind of like communism.
communism.
Yeah, you take what you need and you give. It's just the you take what you need part lah. The give
Uh,
part doesn't exist.
I don't really know how similar to communism it is, but yeah, but basically it's
It's
just
this idea of empowering.
those that are weaker,
Yeah,
empowering the weak, and then the strong can
yeah.
just
So that's my answer to some ironies that people point out with gender equality. Like uh, sometimes okay, think about it lah. In Japan or
Mhm,
Korea,
mhm.
I'm not sure which country. Or actually, it's not just limited to those countries, but there are some countries where there are women only carriages. Then
Oh,
there are some like events that prefer women candidates.
uh-huh.
Yeah, that is gender inequality, but I feel that that is gender equity. That is the main point that I'm trying to get at for gender, really.
There is no gender equality, but there is gender equity.
If I'm preferring a certain gender over the others, am I
Uh-huh.
being fair to both genders? No. But
Oh,
is
yeah.
that fairness justified? Probably.
Possibly.
That's why I'm making the decision.
Oh, so you're basically saying how when people try to achieve gender equality, they might end up causing inequality.
Yeah, and like we just got to recognize that the inequality is driven through equity, and I that's that's my argument that it's fine.
Okay.
Well, at
Oh
least
yeah.
it's generally more fine than being equal.
Oh yeah. That's an interesting perspective.
Then yeah, the what I really wanted to highlight is um going back to master morality and slave morality. There are two contradictory arguments that I have made throughout these 5 episodes. One is that you shouldn't blame yourself for the situation that you got yourself in, and two, you should blame yourself for the situation that you are stuck in.
Okay.
The key difference is getting yourself in and remaining stuck in. So okay, going back to master morality, slave morality, right?
Mhm.
It shouldn't be your fault that you are a slave, but
Mhm.
at the same time, you shouldn't constantly be blaming the masters for not giving way.
Okay, yeah. That's
Your weakness is a fact, but that shouldn't be
a cause of resentment.
I mean, that can be a cause of resentment, but you shouldn't blame like your 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 lack of change on the
Until
lack of action by the people who can
have
change
power.
things. Yeah,
Okay.
but at the same time, like take responsibility. But at the same time, sometimes there are factors that are beyond your control.
Like,
You can't change the behavior of others.
uh,
You can't manipulate other people's subconscious.
okay.
All those factors are out of your control. So really, just do what you can. Don't be narcissistic, but don't be overly critical.
Okay.
It's like the second definition of narcissism, where it's I am worse off than everybody, so therefore everybody should give way to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically don't be this person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's it for master morality and slave morality. It's just how life works. I really don't like the people that are
Yeah.
like, you know, this this makes me very angry. The camp that we were supposed to go for start of this
Was
year, one of the instructors I really disliked.
didn't we go for that camp that you're referring to?
Yeah. That's why I said yeah. We went for the camp.
Uh-huh.
This is instructor I really disliked because he just gave off this life is like this. Suck it up, get over it, energy,
Uh-huh.
and it's like this is the slap to the face. Um, the slap to the face like in action,
Yeah.
which is just one half of the ideal way to go about helping people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So just to conclude, the final sentence of the first season.
Fine. Okay. Yeah.
See now I find necessarily like up the up the hype. This is anticlimactic, but
Yeah,
really, yeah, I
you
know,
better
right?
see you better see something that sounds very philosophical.
It's not really philosophical. I don't want it to be philosophical. I think everybody should, or at least in some way, benefit from the knowledge that you are in control of your own life.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, you are not. Work within those parameters to improve yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually that's actually quite a good way to end this.
Yeah. Well, they also wanted an ending, so see you.